Welcome back to yet another episode of Standup Memories.
At the end of last week's episode,
almost so close. I got so close.
Dave Criblez, our wonderful championship journalist guest from Long Island, 37 years in the trenches, writing about everything except my friend Peter Bales. He mentioned an expression that he uses called background Muppets. I guess he loved Jim Henson and the Muppets, and in the background were Muppets that didn't even have eyes. And Peter, just as we're ending the last episode, Peter said, background Muppets, that's such a great expression. And he said to Dave, do you use that like in articles? And Dave, no, not yet. I use it with my kids, but not in articles. And I just want to take this opportunity to say, Dave, consider that stolen. Because he just set the hook.
Are you really a Muppets fanatic?
I am. Well, here's the thing. I love creatives, and I love original creatives. And I always, Jim Henson was such a hero of mine because I thought what he did was incredible in the sense that he created the Muppets, but he used them as a tool to teach. So when I was a kid, I grew up on Sesame Street. Sesame Street started when I was born. So like they started like literally in like late 69, and I was born early 70. And I grew up on Sesame Street and stuff like that, and I thought it was literally an ingenious way to teach children is to accept all these different things and ideals and things through Muppets. And I really always stuck with me. And
a very positive influence.
Positive
on you.
influence.
And it's so timely. My sister's grandkids, I mean, they're like 2 years old, and they are locked to that screen.
You're locked into it, and you know, I also collect Muppets, so I have a whole series of them.
Okay, well
I'm not sure I'd tell anybody that.
That's uncomfortable. Okay, at this point.
Were you a puppet guy as a kid?
No, just Muppets.
Listen to this.
I never asked you that. Were you a puppet guy?
I was not a puppet guy, and
I was a puppet guy.
At least in my town, that kind of thing was illegal.
I had Howdy Doody, and I had Jerry Mahoney ventriloquist.
But his favorite was Lamb Chop. Those of you who have a certain age, he used to play with Lamb Chop. He won't tell you about Lamb Chop.
No, exactly. Of course not.
Not to change the subject, but when I first became a regular on the Howard Stern show, and we were killing in like 1986, but we were over the top. And that's when he first really started getting in trouble with the FCC, the Federal Communications, whatever it's called. And
Commission. And
I wrote a really disgusting line about Lamb Chop.
Oh boy.
And they never paid the fines, but they got cited for it. And we actually got FCC, you know, you get a copy, I get a copy, Fred gets a copy of the infringement.
Wow.
That Lamb Chop, and nothing funny.
That's hysterical.
And I'm sure it was just something lewd about, you know.
Well, to be fair, I think Shari Lewis was a lot of fun and very talented, and let's keep it in perspective. I want to say, I have a story.
Not to be politically incorrect, but she had the slightest lisp, which made you think you could get her. You know, there's something wrong with her. Maybe I got a shot.
All right, Jackie. What do you say to that?
I say,
keep thinking that.
Enough Lamb Chop.
I went to a taping of Sesame Street, and I know how Big Bird works, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. I bet you don't even know. Do you, Nicole, our wonderful camera woman over there? Okay, break time.
Yeah. I think at this point the whole world knows.
No, you don't know how.
I do too.
You do? All right, let's hear.
I did an autograph signing, one of those chiller theater things, where you're with B, C, D, E, and F celebrities.
In Jersey.
And it was incredible. I was sitting next to the first Playboy Playmate.
Wow.
1,000 years old.
Wow.
On the other side, Richard Kyle, with a head this big, Jaws.
Wow.
Okay. And Carol.
Leifer?
No, Carol, the Big Bird.
Spinney.
Carol Spinney was there, and my girlfriend at the time was with me. She would not have been as excited to meet Sinatra,
right? Sure,
as she was to meet Carol Spinney.
Wow,
Big Bird thing, and he was there in the outfit and the whole deal. And
actually, when you look at Big Bird, there is one functional arm. The other arm is tethered
Yep.
to the body. There are no eyes to see out. And his free arm is up working
Mouth.
the mouth. And the way he sees to walk around the set is to look down at a
Right.
TV monitor around his neck.
Yep.
Yes, you can learn things here.
Do you want
on
to, you know why they
Stand-Up
call
Memories.
it? Do you
Isn't
know
Now
why,
that
you can
cool?
go make your own Big Bird and impress David Criblez.
do you know why they call it Muppets?
Why?
Because it's puppet moved by the mouth. Muppet. See?
Oh, a puppet moved by the mouth.
It's a Muppet.
You see
with an
that?
M. Yeah.
See, that's a very distant cousin, I think, to stand-up comedy, puppeteering.
It is.
Whereas,
to a certain degree.
what about a mullet?
A mullet, really, that's interesting you bring that up,
Did you
Jackie.
ever have a mullet?
I never had a mullet.
That's why you never got girls.
Would you?
I actually thought of having
Would
a
you?
mullet.
But would you consider what you had a mullet? Because you used to have long hair in the back.
I never had a mullet. I had
Jackie.
a ponytail for the entire 70s,
Right,
but
all right.
never a mullet.
But what about
Never
like,
a mullet!
What about in the '80s when you had it slick back and you had it long in the back? You remember the traditional Jackie
But
hair?
that wasn't a mullet.
do.
That was whatever was sticking up was just what didn't fit into the.
You know where I
band.
got my hairstyle from my entire life? Very young, and only older people will recognize this name.
Andy Griffith.
Bobby Sherman was a
Oh, really?
Oh!
He had great hair.
Wow.
I'm sorry, he did. And, and I would ask,
Hullabaloo?
what, was he on Hullabaloo? He was on a show called Here Come the Brides, and he had a lot of hit singles.
He got that. There was Hullabaloo and Shindig.
Shindig.
He used
Wow.
to sing his songs on that, right? If I got the wrong Bobby? There was Bobby Goldsboro and Bobby Sherman.
Bobby Goldsberg is somebody
You
else.
did have Bobby Sherman here.
I did. You darn right I did, and I was proud.
I had General Sherman here. It's retreating. That's all right. But you
I
know,
love stuff like this.
I actually had a ponytail the entire 70s, and it was very weird because people did not like long hairs. There were a lot of hippies and a lot of
yeah, it was
everything.
a thing.
But when you were in regular polite society or whatever you'd call it, you were like kind of frowned on. It was
Yeah.
really weird. It was like,
Yeah.
it wasn't being African American, but it wasn't being straight. There were people
Yeah,
that
of course.
they would label you.
When did you cut it?
I was in comedy. I don't know if it was a month or 3 months, whatever. I was playing my guitar and telling jokes, and playing my guitar and telling jokes, and then got up at Dixon's. And at some point, I realized when you're a comedian, they almost have their mind made up about you
Yeah.
before you get to the
Oh,
mic.
yeah.
Not totally, but and if you have a ponytail, they're already colored, and I just
Yeah.
and one day it was no great thing where I agonized, or it's just like, you know what?
Lopped it off. Yeah.
And then I got in the shower and dried my hair, and I'm like, you got to be kidding. Is it really that easy?
Oh,
Did you hear what Jackie just said? Something really interesting. The audience has their mind made up about
true.
you before you even
Yeah.
start. We used to talk about a phenomenon, and I think it still exists today, where audiences have learned that the first act is the weaker act, and sometimes they think they don't even have to tune in
Which
to
is
the
so
first
wrong,
act, which
right.
is so wrong, which is why the host or tag team, because hosting is a lost art, and they do tag team shows where there's no cohesiveness whatsoever to the show. The first act is often not even given a fair shot by the audience, and that's just wrong as can be.
But audiences they'll always be filtering in during the opening music.
And a
act.
lot
it's just like that's.
It's always the
A
case.
lot of bookers reinforce that by not caring enough about their entire show. 3-person show. Remember when we started out, it was a 4-person, but now it's pretty standard.
Yeah,
3-person.
Yeah.
And there was no. It was like, why don't you MC? No, I'll MC.
Right.
And one guy would
Right.
MC and get the thing going. And,
And,
bring you up,
and MCing was sometimes sought after.
It
Sought
was-
after by
it
me.
was just as.
Yeah.
But now you have bookers and club owners who will focus on booking a headliner, a good solid headliner, and not really care about the feature act or the opener. That's like a steakhouse serving a great steak with a brown salad and a rotten baked potato.
Right.
Who's going to come back for that again?
Right.
Now,
Exactly.
why would you eat this so often? It's
Really? It's true what I just said. I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
I got booked so many places, so many times, and where I've never really, like me and Peter worked together a lot, and I worked with this guy Rich Harkaway a lot, because there's people you get comfortable with, and it works.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I just don't care. They say, I want to put on an opener, or do you want an opener? And I prefer to just go up there and get them cold and get all their energy because I'm a hog,
Yeah, sure.
But not so much anymore because I don't do Stump the Joke Man as much anymore, which made the show longer.
Right.
But they'll say, all right, we're going to use an opening act. And you wind up almost not bothering. It's me with this chase I've been under for 40 years telling people to spell the joke man. It just, I'm ready to abandon that. I've been saying that for 30 years.
Yeah.
But they say, opening act, fine. And I'll say, don't have him be real dirty, him or her be real dirty, and not real loud.
Yeah.
And I never say I don't want somebody really funny in front of me.
Yeah, of course.
But if you got somebody loud that's dirty, that's like putting on two ventriloquists.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
You got to have a different energy. You got to balance it.
People like, your comic will say, I hear I'm not supposed to be dirty. And I'm like, I'm not trying to cut off what you do.
Anybody who is an opener or a feature, it's just courtesy to the headliner. Don't do too long, number one.
And if they go through all the words, it takes all the bite out of it.
That was Rodney Dangerfield's rule. He said, I am the first one to say the F word, that's it, no discussion.
Okay, yeah.
And out of courtity, you open for a George Carlin or a Robert Klein or somebody else that, somebody big, a Jerry Seinfeld. You've got to do the right thing. You're going to go in and get them, but the show is a growth upward.
And when people used to go to Rodney, after he started getting really famous, like 1980, he was already known, but once he started getting really famous and people would go to Dangerfield's, that was an explosion the first time you saw him say that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was so, it didn't, whoa.
And I'm not telling...
That's Paul McCartney up there smoking.
I'm not telling feature acts and openers to lay down, but go up there classy and strong as you can. And when you're ready to move up to a headliner, it's when certain headliners can't follow you. That's when you're ready. But don't go up and be shocking or dirty and detract from the evening.
There definitely were always the acts that are like, I'm going to go up and prove that I should be
right.
But the bottom line is you're supposed to warm up the crowd. That's your job.
Right.
Your job is to set up the ramp to bring them up to to the main guy.
To get them
or the main
And
girl,
that's why when people who are hosting get a chance to feature, in a 3-person show, the feature spot is the sweetest spot. They're ready, they're relaxed, they're not tired yet.
Right.
And you're like, wow.
And there's so much that goes on because every headliner has sat back there and you just can't help it. When the feature act is doing really, really great, in your mind you're like, oh, that's a laugh I won't get. It's just a neurotic thing.
And I got to tell you,
of course.
But they get going good enough.
I get you.
And then the MC or somebody, some of these guys will be like, they'll feed off that. Like, wow, they're really going.
Yeah.
So they go up and they'll do like 10 minutes off the energy from the feature. When their job was to go, hot audience, here you go.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Like a relay race, handing off the baton.
Right.
When I open for Jackie sits in the back, and I can see him. He's sitting there thinking, this is going to be so easy to follow.
Well, the difference is
Until he goes
you guys are two different energies. You're so different energies, though. I mean, he's high energy, you're more low.
That's why it works so well.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm different. I am actually by choice lower, and everybody's lower energy than Jackie.
Of course.
But I love his crowds are fun crowds,
Yeah.
and I love that. And I'm totally different. And he comes up, and it works
like
really
the last time he opened for me, he did 40 minutes.
No.
But I was like, I understood that.
No
'cause
way.
He was determined to stay up there till he got his first laugh. It just didn't happen.
And
So he
finally, I had to get bailed, and that's an appropriate expression for what I did.
That's great. Peter bailed.
I bailed.
I never
bailed.
thought of that before.
But David Criblez of Newsday is here. Don't hold back. Okay. Tell me, you cover as a journalist comedy here on Long Island.
He doesn't go on stage. He writes about the people on stage. He's kind of like a background Muppet.
What is wrong with comedy today that you see live?
Well,
don't hold back.
Okay, I won't hold back. Well, let's be honest. I mean, the elephant in the room is they're all being judged immediately. And I'm not just talking about the audience sitting there watching, okay? When you go to a comedy club and you go to see comedy, it's like going to a restaurant to eat. You're already hungry. You're ready to go. But
That's why you're there.
That's why you're there.
Yeah.
But there's an extra thing that goes on today, and they're all worried about the judgment. And what I mean by the judgment is somebody calling them out for something they said wrong, or offended this or this and that. And I understand there's a lot of sensitivities out there, but it creates a very tricky obstacle course for the stand-up to go through today. Whether it's a man or a woman or whoever, how old they are, they have to go out there. And right now, in 2022, there's a vibe in the audience, and you just don't know, what's going on.
You are absolutely right, I am sure, but to me, that is such horse crap, not meaning what you're saying is horse crap. Me, I am offensive, and I say a lot of things that nobody should probably ever say, but my audience knows that.
Yes.
They've come to see me for 40 years,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
everybody knows what
Right.
I'm doing is not hurtful.
Of course.
But to me, like if you go to a comedy club and you're going to get offended, that's like somebody going to an opera and saying, "Don't sing so loud."
Exactly.
Like Jesus
I know.
Christ. That's why.
But here's the fine line, right? So you look at someone like Jackie. Let's look at Jackie's act. You know Jackie's act. So do I. His act is also talking on a fun, cartoonish kind of level. He's not talking as Jackie Martling, the man, this is how I feel. He's telling jokes.
Right.
Jokes.
And he also
And
hits
tell this
everybody.
joke 'cause I don't like
He
Italians.
hits everybody.
I'm gonna tell
He'll
this
hit
joke
every
because I don't
type
like
of
it.
person, and he'll mix up the jokes. He's doing of all ethnicities,
It should be some kind of blanket thing. Or I think at some point, I've even thought about this, that there's going to be like different kinds of clubs. Like there's going to be a club, this is a comedy club, and we do and say what we want in here. When they had the Gotham TV show, in Mark Cuban's Gotham, whatever it was called, Gotham Live, they said, we're going to be offensive, we're going to talk about anything we want, and don't come in here.
Exactly.
And they showed it on whatever his TV show is, his TV channel is, he has a whole network, and they would say, this is what's going to happen here if you don't like it. This is a cowboy show, and we're going to shoot each other.
The point is, people are allowed to be offended.
Of course.
But what you shouldn't be allowed to do is interrupt the show, ruin the show. If you don't like something, turn the channel. If you don't like something, leave the show or don't go to the club, which you should know what the club is in the first place anyway.
Right.
That's how you handle it.
Yeah.
All right? You go to somewhere where you like the show, not somewhere where you're offended. It's as simple as that. You don't have to do anything about it.
Right.
If you're offended.
It's a little mind-boggling for somebody to go in there and say, I don't really like this. It's
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's like going to a steakhouse, sitting down, and be like, I don't eat meat.
right.
What are you doing in a steakhouse?
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, I got to tell you,
You don't. But in all fairness, you would eat anything.
Not anything, but I do eat steak. But I'm actually not eating steak for a while now. I'm not staying off red meat.
I can't afford it either.
We're coming back next week with David Criblez, and we have so much more to talk about. But I want to end with Jackie.
Don't send David steaks. He's not eating steaks currently.
No, not
What
right
do you
now.
say, Jackie, when a joke doesn't work to an audience? I'll do the first line, you do the second line. Basically, you say, hey, that joke works. I'm testing you.
Oh, you know what? I said that I say it all the time. I say, I know these jokes work. I'm testing you.
That's so
like if
totally
I tell
true.
a really funny joke and they don't laugh, hey, I've been telling these jokes for 40 years. Like this isn't on me.
Yeah.
And it's the old thing where, if you pay $14 to come into a comedy club or $34 to come into a comedy club and you don't laugh, who's the jerk? I'm already getting paid. You pay the money and you don't laugh. Who's the idiot?
Right. Exactly.
Thank you, David Criblez from Newsday. And Jackie Martling.
Have we ever talked about the groups of people in the audience not laughing? We'll do that when we come back.
Well, that's really my whole career.
Well, I wasn't going to say that because I was
See you next time on Standup Memories.
trying to be a good guy.
Hey, a new episode of Standup Memories every Wednesday.
How exciting is that?
Starring me, Peter Bales, and right here, Jackie the Joke Man Martling.
Please follow us on social media, Search it out. What is it? Me space?
MySpace,
Your space?
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
Doodah, doodah.